Damn. Hey everybody, good morning. Hey Maddie, thanks for being here. I'm just waiting for some people to come in and cleaning up my last reading. Ozzy is here, man. Ozzy's been here, but I'll be 100% honest. I've never like been into rock music in that way, and so just me personally, I don't know, I wasn't like I was kind of like fighting the connection for some reason because it didn't personally interest me. I know that sounds horrible. I'm learning too. I'm not perfect. I'm definitely learning that it's not about me. So I got a sign that was so random. I was like, okay, I hear you, and I was like, all right, I'll do it because it's not about me. So we're gonna talk to Ozzy today. I'm gonna tell you um the things I've been getting. Wow, I'll tell you in a minute. Let me just clean this up. I'm gonna wait for people to come in. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a good week since we last saw you. I hope everyone's finding joy. I hope everyone is choosing joy and finding it. Because sometimes once you find it, it's hard to choose it. But I hope that you're doing that for yourself. Okay, I'm just gonna write some notes down like I do. Hiding in the bushes. Hiding in the bushes, okay. I gotta say, Ozzy is quite the character. His energy is very original to his personality. It is, for sure. The way that he expresses energy is very... I will say, I'll say it in a second. Let me write my notes. Let me write my notes that I do so I can tap in while I wait for more people to come in. Haunt you. I know, okay. I know, I was gonna say it. I'll say it in a minute, Ozzy, okay? He's earthbound. He wants me to tell people he's earthbound, okay? He didn't cross over. It doesn't mean he can't cross over. It just means I don't know why he didn't cross over. We'll find out. July 22nd. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Wait, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, 7/22, 25. Okay, let me clear the field. Oh wait, yep, song. Who is Ainsley? Who is Ainsley? Yes, okay. Okay, thank you so much. I'm just gonna clear the field and we'll get started. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna clear. This is gonna work for you too. It's gonna help to rebalance you for a good day today. Good morning. Rick and Morty verse. What is energy? Oh, everything is energy. Energy is multiple things. It culminated into one thing, like vibration, light, frequency. It's non-physical energy, but it's the most important thing in the universe. And if you understand energy, you can understand many things. And that's why we're very passionate about learning about energy and then teaching you guys whatever we learn through our spirit guides, through God. Yes, everything is energy. Energy is everything. That's right. I'm ready for a good day. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's giving me so many names right now. He said David, Ainsley, Michelle, and I've been going like this. Ozzy Osbourne and Michelle claimed her affair with Ozzy Osbourne lasted from 2012 to 2016. Damn. Former mistress, Michelle. Wow. He's got a lot to say. He's earthbound, so he has a lot of things that he wants to correct, that he wants to make right, because he didn't feel he was ready to cross over for whatever reason. We're up every morning at 3 a.m. actually, because we're bakers, so getting up this early, this is like late for us. This is like late for us. Ooh, all right. Alrighty, I think that's good. Let me light this incense. Last time I lit the incense, it was like going in my face and I didn't like it, but let's do one this time. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. Oh my gosh. Hello, Grandma. Everybody say hello to Grandma. My Grandma. Oh, she's so amazing. She's definitely helped me through some hard times and still is. Okay. Well, we have 3 names. We have David, Michelle, and Ainsley so far. I got a song. But let me do my spiel first. Hello. Good morning, everybody. 11:11 in the chat. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning from Kentucky. I'm in Rhode Island. My name is Patience. I'm your favorite spirit medium, host of Spirit News podcast on all major platforms. If you would like to follow any of our socials, we'd absolutely love to. Heartbroken, Ozzy just said. We would absolutely love to have you. Please find any of our socials and the podcast on all the platforms, whichever one's your favorite one to listen to. It's on all of them through the link tree in the bio. You'll be able to find all of the links there. The podcast, if you love more podcast style, segmented episode based metaphysical knowledge that we've gathered through our observations and through tapping in with our own spirit team, with angels, all of that. You can find all of that higher perspective on Spirit News, and we'd absolutely love to have you. Here on our YouTube and our TikTok, we use these platforms through the guidance of our spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle, Mish, Maribel, and Mantis, to learn how to read energy and to show you guys what it looks like for us, not for you to do it like us, because everyone has their own unique way of connecting, but to show you that it's being done and that it's possible and that it's not demonic and that it's up to you to decide what you're going to use it for. And with great power comes great responsibility. And that's why we're not all born with the ability to do what we are naturally capable of doing, which is talking through our electromagnetic field, through our energy, which is non-physical. Everybody has that ability to be what we've labeled psychic. That's just a label. That's outside of this planet, nobody else calls it psychic. They just call it communication, energetic communication. And so we're learning that language of energy, of symbolism, of emotion, because that's the way that spirit talks to you, through visions, through clues. We follow the clues. And we try to get higher perspectives of linear views. Spirit News. Follow the clues. I'm going to have to add that in there somehow. Oh, thank you everyone for being here. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am truly, 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 I just wish I could beam it to you. I want you to feel how truly grateful I am for all of the love and support. It's been a wild ride through these years, and I'm just so grateful to have this platform and to have you guys share your experiences with me and to share a lot of the common things that we're all going through on this journey that choose that choose this path. And it's very exciting, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're here for me too. So thank you so much. I have the best coffee today, The coffee is so good. The coffee is coughing. Ooh, get out of there. Holy Divine Spirit, Yeshua, please remove any energies trying to infiltrate on me without my permission. Thank you. That was rude. You know, whoever did that, that was rude. I felt that in my head. Very clear. Archangel Michael, please remove and create a protective bubble that no one can penetrate. You can't stop God. Someone just tried to poke my head over here. I felt it. But that's it. I only felt it. 11:11. Villain. Okay, so listen, I got a lot of things. Okay, I got a lot of things. I don't know exactly where to start. You know what? Let me tap into his energy. Let me try to understand where to start, okay? So I had gotten this. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Ozzy. I invite you with Archangel Michael into my field for protection so we can get a higher perspective of your linear view. Thank you so much. So I was cleaning up and I was like, I haven't picked from these little storylines in a while. So I was like, I don't know. I just felt called to do it. So I did. And I got this blue one and it says, it wasn't so much that I had been blind to the truth. It was just that I had seen the truth differently. And I was like, interesting. That's very interesting. And then he said, beware. I feel frightened. And then I was like, okay. So I wrote that down. And that's when I really started to feel like he was earthbound. And he also said, I fell and lonely, okay? And I started to feel that from him. Like the way that he accepted something was through some kind of justification that made it okay. You know, that some kind of like lie he said to himself that made something okay. But he's earthbound. He is earthbound. He didn't cross over to home. There's something unresolved within him. And that, as a spirit medium, I'm learning. I'm no expert. I'm definitely newer to learning my gift and how it all works, because I kind of started late in the game. As a childhood psychic, I repressed my gift up until recently. And so I'm learning the nuances and the things from spirit. And I give you all that knowledge that we learn. And what I'm learning is that some spirits, some people, everyone has a soul. Okay, everyone has a soul. And when your current incarnation has a lot of things that you justified that maybe weren't the best, like a lot of things you did that you feel guilt and shame about, basically. To put it really simply, when you don't resolve those things in the life, when you pass, you will be earthbound until you allow yourself to let go of those things. And it's not God that judges you. It's not God that keeps you suffering in that way. It's you as a soul. Lavender 22222. Twos are a big reading in this big number in this. He died on the 22nd, 2025. And he was born in December. So has a 2 in it. And so that's him. I don't know what it is, but I feel like if we can help to alleviate some of the things that are unknown that he was not able to release or integrate or resolve, I'm happy to do that. And that's another goal of these that we do. It's very multidimensional. Okay, so he did say,
I'm in here.
I'm in here. Yes, thank you, Ozzy. He's here. It wasn't so much that I had been blind to the truth. He knew the truth. He knew the truth, but he was trying to justify by he was trying to justify the truth that it was okay for him to do it because he saw it differently. There's something about whatever this truth is that just was justified by the way he was looking at it, the way he was perceiving it, okay? So then he said, after he said, beware, I feel frightened, I fell, and lonely, he said, Ainsley. So I went to the Google and I put Ozzy Osbourne and Ainsley. And there is a news anchor on Fox called Ainsley. It's just such a like American name. It's Ainsley. What was her last name? No, I can't find it. Well, her name's Ainsley. Something. Oh, Ainsley Earnhardt. Earnhardt. She had, it says, Fox News host corrected over humiliating Ozzy Osbourne blunder by Foreigner star. So when he passed, she was interviewing a Foreigner band member, and she says, while introducing him, she said, our next guest played bass for Ozzy on different occasions, different record projects, and even got to tour with him over the years. Foreigner's bass player, Jeff Pilson, joins us now. Hey Jeff, how are you doing? She had given him her condolences, saying, we're so sorry for your loss. Jeff then clarified his relationship with the late singer, stating, I actually should clear this up real quick. I did not play with Ozzy, and I wasn't close to him. However, Mick Jones, the leader of Foreigner, he was very close with him, with Ozzy, and they were friends, just to clear that up.
I want revenge.
Ainsley then paused in her he just said, I want revenge. Ainsley then paused in her tracks before continuing the segment. Okay, thank you. So both of them had Parkinson's and they would work together on
Foolish
projects.
mortal.
A foolish mortal. So, of course, when I met Ozzy, it was probably about 40 years ago now, and it was a night of debauchery, as it was 40 years ago. Anyways, that was when I met him. The next time I met him was at an AA meeting a few years later. You know, the main thing I want to stress about Ozzy is the great charitable work he did for the Parkinson's Foundation. He raised a lot of money and he was very helpful. So he did say Ainsley, and then he said, I want revenge, foolish mortal. So he's earthbound and he's kind of angry. There's something that's still lingering, some kind of human emotion that he's attached himself to, some kind of aggression, something that he may have used in his human life, because that's how it works. That's energy. An emotion that you're attached to can be very electrically charged, and you can attach yourself to it, especially if it's an unresolved emotion, especially if you use that emotion multiple times to exact revenge or to carry out vengeful plots. You know, when you do those things, you energetically charge that emotion and it becomes more and more attached to your electromagnetic field, because an emotion is electric and so are your thoughts. And so an emotion is energy in motion, emotion. And so if you pass over and you repress those emotions, and or you justify having them, or you never look at them as being, harmful, even though in those emotional moments you harm, when you cross over, those will be the emotions that you still need to release, in order for you to allow yourself to cross over, to go home. Okay, because you can't take those emotions home with you. It's what makes earthbound spirits stuck, is being attached to those kinds of earthly human emotions that prevents you from crossing over. Okay. So there's a lot of messages being held. So I'm not going to read them, but, and so the point of Ainsley, of bringing that up, I think, is to bring us to his debauchery. 40 years ago, this band member is admitting that they did debauchery. They did things that were, possibly drug fueled and alcohol fueled. And while I was reading it, he said revenge. And so there may be certain people on his path that maybe he didn't get along with, or maybe they had secret, things against each other, because he also said David. And so I looked up Ozzy Osbourne and David, and there's many Davids in his life that could have been rivals. David Lee Roth from Van Halen, his complex relationship with David Lee Roth. David Draymond from Disturbed, David Ethelson from Megadeth, but also David Bowie's death in 2016. Okay, so something about David Bowie. Ozzy was deeply affected by Bowie's death in 2016, mourning him as a friend and fellow artist, especially after losing Lemmy Kilmister close together, according to Rolling Stone. Ozzy controversy. Draymond faced backlash for comments supporting Israel at Ozzy-related event, causing him to be booed, highlighting differing views. Okay. Although the Black Sabbath singer didn't know Bowie very well, the fact his death envy. The fact that his death came weeks after his good friend Lemmy Kilmister and Motorhead shook him. Envy. There may have been something that he was part of that may have led to certain deaths of people. Write a letter, and then when I was cleaning up, write a letter to your job as to why you're leaving. So he could have possibly tried to leave, or tried to find ways to leave his job, where he couldn't. He may have felt stuck. And then he said Michelle. So I looked up Ozzy Osbourne and Michelle, and that is someone that he had an affair with, his mistress, Michelle Pugh, from 2012 to 2016. That could be another reason why he has guilt and shame and why he can't cross over. And then, speaking of his, and then we'll get into the true reading, we'll dive deeper, but, and the song, oh my God, and the song, I can't forget about the song. And then, hotter than a dragon scale on Dragon Tales in Dragonland. I ain't lying. I like that. Dragon. Yeah, it is. It is the season of the dragon. The dragon is awakened. And I'm talking about the Mary Magdalene dragon bloodlines activated. Anyway, that was a side note. Thank you. Thank you, Ramsey Bates. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. We're really happy you're here. Thank you so much for being with me and Ozzy and Spirit. So I was cleaning up, and I have a drawer full of cards that are in the card graveyard, game cards, and I have these Golden Girl meme cards, and I was like, Ozzy's like, look in there. I was like, okay. So I picked one. It said, why do blessings wear disguises? If I was a blessing, I'd run around naked. So, but Ozzy didn't run around naked. So he's saying there's a lot of things he did that was not a blessing. And what we have to remember is that now that Ozzy's crossed over, even though he's earthbound, there's no There's no barriers to the
Times and
information now.
times.
There's no gatekeeping. There's only truth. And that's why it's so beneficial to understand once a person crosses over to ask them questions in their non-physical form, because now they don't have to worry about, being ostracized or humiliation. Now it's just about revealing truth. And so he's saying right now that, there's a lot of things that he did that wouldn't be considered a blessing if we knew that he did them. Okay. I remember when we had to impress a man's parents, not his children. Okay, so there's something about his children that he's wanting, and that's Blanche. That's Blanche. Maybe I know Blanche was very promiscuous. Blanche was very open about dating and being with multiple partners. So there's something about, maybe being like that in front of his kids, having that as a regret, realizing that maybe that kind of openness could have been more damaging than good. And then there's this better than yesterday. Awkward. Awkward. So, do something you know you suck at, a certain exercise, a sport, playing an instrument. Be willing to be a beginner again. It opens up new doors and shows you what you're capable of. So I think he's saying, I had children and I was trying to be a family man. Even though I suck at it, I did it anyway, and that was his blessing. But the way he treated them at times, or the way that he maybe decisions he made may not have been a blessing to them. And so he wants to admit that, there are a lot of things that he was not making a good representation of what, of what a family person should have been doing in order for his children to look up to. I'm not saying that his children didn't love him, but it's just like this. It was so much it wasn't so much that I'd been blind to the truth, it's just that I had seen the truth differently. So again, justifying certain behaviors and things that he did in front of his kids or with his family, even though he sucked at it, he justified his actions and still tried. It says, be willing to be a beginner again. It opens up new doors of what you're capable of. So it kind of feels like, justifying certain behaviors to not accept that it's probably not acceptable to do those things in front of kids, and admitting I may have, fucked my kids up a little because of, my own actions. Definitely. Debauchery, promiscuity. Okay. So that's that. And then I got a song. I was like, Spotify, please shuffle a song and give me a song for Ozzy Osbourne. And I got a song from Black Sabbath, which it has the world on fire with a demon sitting on top of the fire. Okay. And the song is NIB, which I don't even know what NIB means. Let me just see if I
Basis.
Spirit said basis. So once I tell you what the song says, that he says that's the basis. He is admitting that he may have exacted revenge. He may have been envious. There's a lot of things that we may not have been privy to that he's revealing right now. So let me just see if I can find out what MIB means. If anybody knows in the chat, please reveal it, because I don't know what NIB means. NIB meaning. The point. Oh, that's a. No, no, that's a wrong one. I don't know what NIB means. NIB. Meaning. I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says the pointed end part of a pen which distributes the ink on the writing surface. Shelled and crushed coffee or cocoa beans. It's not revealing to me what it means.
Really?
Really? New in box? New in box? Could mean nativity in black. Name in blood. And he said, really? Name in blood. Oh my god. Okay. I'm laughing because it's just so silly, you know? Okay, let me just read the song. So it says, why can't I be the reason you put on your lip gloss?
Supernatural.
Supernatural, he says. He said supernatural. Some people say my love cannot be true. Now, I have to say, I've never heard of this song. When I started reading it, I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like a love song. I was like, what's the big deal? It's just a love song, right? Well, just wait. Some people say my love cannot be true. Please believe me, my love, I'll show you. I will give you those things you thought unreal. The sun, the moon, the stars, all bear by seal. Follow me now and you will not regret leaving the life you led before we met. You are the first to have this love of mine forever with me till the end of time. Your love for me has just got to be real before you know the way I'm going to feel. Now I have you with me under my thoughts. Our love grows stronger now with every hour. Look into my eyes, you'll see who I am. My name is Lucifer. Please take my hand. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But it's like, name in blood. Signed in blood. Signed your name in blood. It's like right in your face, you know? It's like you can't. Okay, it's like the beginning of the song says, some people say my love cannot be true. What I got from this was, if someone is outright claiming that they believe in Lucifer, that's fine, whatever. Do whatever you want. That's your decision. You're allowed to come here on earth and you're allowed to choose whatever experience you want to have. That's what Spirit says. We come here to be imperfect. When we're crossed over, when we go home, when we're part of pure positive energy, when we're part of God, Source, Yeshua, whatever, however you want to look at it, when you're over there, you're pure positive energy. There's only one energy, and that's love. That's the frequency of love. And then when you come to earth, it is to live a life of limitation, because we thought it would be fun, because we are limitless, infinite beings that never die, that are pure positive energy. Everything always works out for us. And so we thought it would be fun to go to earth and to have a limited experience in order to help our souls evolve into greater aspects of ourselves, to experience ourselves, for God to experience themselves. Okay, so you can come here, and Spirit always says it's about the variety. We come to earth because it has so much variety. Because when you're in human form, you're harnessing divine energy to create an experience you want to have. And so it's not that he chose to experience Luciferianism, it's that it's out in the open and we're consuming his belief system through his creative efforts, and we're not questioning the person at all. We're not questioning what that entails. We're not questioning what that actually means. And now 22 in the chat, 1222. Thank you, Ozzy. And now we know that believing in Lucifer requires you to live a certain specific type of life that is not adjacent or in aligned with your true essence, your true soul is made of, okay? And so that's why he's earthbound, because when you subscribe to Luciferianism or you do behaviors that match that energy, you don't even have to be a practicing Satanist or whatever. I have to be careful what I say because this is for entertainment purposes only. I cannot prove any of this in a court of law, and this is all alleged. Okay, I have to say that, and I have to try to be more careful about the words I use because TikTok is very sensitive, and they like to flag my lives when I say certain words. So I'm going to be careful. But if a person is exhibiting behaviors that match a lower frequency that aren't things that Yeshua would do. And I'm not making this religious, I'm making it energetic. Then we have to question the human. If the human is justifying revenge and envy, and they have mistresses, and they can't get off of drugs and alcohol, and they have questionable behaviors that bring pain and guilt and shame to people, that's not, I mean, if you want to consider that somebody that you can look up to because they're rich, because they're rich and they're successful in a very specific way, there's a disconnect there, okay? Because just because someone has money and they have, a lot of material wealth, it doesn't make them rich in spirit. And they can't take any of that with them when they cross over. And so now what he's revealing to us is that he can't cross over because there's so many things unresolved that he justified in his time here because it was just part of the lifestyle he chose, that now he can't go home. He's earthbound. He fell. He said, I fell. Okay? So there may have been multiple times that he tried to leave his job, write a letter as to why you should leave his job, because he realized that this job that he chose, this lifestyle he chose, was not a blessing. And he was doing behaviors and doing things that were not going to impress his children. I remember when we had to impress a man's parents, not his children. Okay? And so there was like a tug and a pull at him, but he justified his actions by, well, I'm already dedicated. I'm already, 10 toes down in this lifestyle. I can't leave. Okay? So there's something where he felt like he couldn't leave. Okay? So, and then a thing about the song that's kind of stands out to me is, at first I thought it was a love song, and I never heard the song before, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a love song. It could have been a love song. And then it gets to the end, and he reveals, I'm Lucifer. And I was like, you tricked me. And that's how that energy is. That energy, it's not, I don't know how I'm going to explain this. That energy will come to you with illusions of fulfillment. Like it says, some people say my love can't be true, but please believe me, I'll show you my love is true. And the way that Lucifer kind of, or not Lucifer, but that energy, I don't want to label it because it's not religious, it's energetic. Once you invite that energy in, the things that are going to make you feel like you want that is some kind of wound within yourself that wants you to feel validated, that wants more, that's chasing something more. And so it will say, I'll give you everything in this world you ever wanted: riches, fame, attention, adoration, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is that's in your wound of unworthiness you feel you need to fill that void within yourself. Well, if I get all this, then I'll be happy. Yeah, that was Ozzy. And so there's something about him needing those
Unclear.
unclear. There's something about him needing those things. And it says, follow me now and you will not regret. Well, why do you have to say I won't regret it if I'm not going to regret it? You know? Like if you it's a lure. It's a lure. It's an attractive 3D matrix lure that plays on our insecurities. And so he's admitting, he was into that. Okay? It appealed to him. And so your love for me has just got to be real. It just got to be real. It has to be real. I wouldn't have all these things and all this. I wouldn't have so much money and so many fans if it wasn't real. It's not that it's not real. It's not that it's not happening. It's what are you sacrificing to achieve those things? What are you giving this energy to obtain things? And so we're going to find out, okay? But it's almost the song is just revealing like you are justifying you're justifying that energy and being in that energy through some kind of perception of justification. You're looking at it. He said right here, it wasn't so much that I had been blind to the truth. He knew the truth. He knew that, what he was dabbling in was dark. He knew that. It was just that I had seen the truth differently. But what he wanted, he was getting. So why would he stop doing those things if he's getting what he wants or what he thinks he wants? Okay, but now that he's crossed over, he can see now that the very things that he thought he wanted were the very things that held him back, because that never relieved or resolved any of his guilt or shame. It was just repressed. And so now he's carried it over into in his non-physical experience, and he's earthbound because he has a lot of things that he never resolved. Okay. Okay, I hope you understand. So then, this book fell on the ground. The Art of Living. Thich, I don't know how to say it. Thich Nhat Hanh. Ozzy, please tell us. Please tell us more. Every day you transform. Some part of you is being born and some part is dying. Hide and seek. In my hermitage in France, there's a bush of japonica, and he said, I'm hiding in the bush. My claws. Japanese quince. The bush usually blossoms in spring. One winter, it was very warm and the flower buds came early, but during the night, a cold snap arrived and brought with it frost. The next day, while doing walking meditation, I noticed that all the buds on the bush had died, and he said, I'm hiding in the bush. It was very sad to see and he said, my claws. So there were some things that I think he's talking about his kids again. The things that he was supposed to grow and nourish, he didn't. It was sad to see because he was not nourishing them properly with the light of day. And in this reference, Thich Nhat Hanh is saying that the blossoms hadn't seen the light of day and they died because of that. A few weeks later, the weather got warm again, and on my walk, I saw new buds. They were so beautiful, young and fresh. I was delighted, and I asked them, are you the same as the buds that died in the front, or are you different? The flowers replied, we are not the same and we are not different. When conditions are sufficient, we manifest, and when conditions are not sufficient, we go into hiding. Before my mother gave birth to me, she was pregnant with another baby boy, but she had a miscarriage. When I was young, I always wondered, was that my brother, or was it me who was trying to manifest? If a baby has been lost, it means that conditions were not sufficient for them to manifest, and the child has decided to withdraw so they can wait for better conditions. I had better withdraw. Come back again soon, my dearest. We have to respect their will. If you see the world with eyes like this, you will suffer much less. Spirit said Ivy. Ozzy Osbourne and Ivy. Most commonly refers to a viral internet story about two adorable, slightly mismatched pets, a chaotic cat named Ozzy and a regal cat named Ivy. He's talking of, oh, but could also reference fans' theories about Oz and his mother Ivy from American Horror Story, or even a real life Ozzy Osbourne fan's pets named after him and his wife and daughter. Though the pets are the most prominent match for that specific phrase, Ozzy's talking about his cat Ivy. That's funny. A mischievous male cat and Ivy, a calm, queenly female cat. They are a beloved internet duo for their funny dynamic with
Write it
Ozzy
down.
causing chaos and Ivy keeping him in line. The contrasting personalities and cute interactions made them fan favorites online. It's funny, he just mentioned his cat. So there's something about him saying something about his kids. There's he's implying that he recognizes that he had children. He manifested children because he wanted something different. He delighted in the idea of having young and fresh children, but when it came to nurturing them in a specific way, that's something that he wasn't good at. And he's recognizing that a lot of his behaviors he may have even experienced a lot of miscarriages, or there may have been miscarriage of parental duties that he didn't contribute to manifesting sufficient environments emotionally for his kids. And he wants to say that I'll come back again soon, my dearest, and that he respects their will.
Shortly.
Assuredly, he respects their will, and he sees now through their eyes what it was like to suffer, the suffering that he may have caused for them, especially for the mother of his children, all of his children. And he's saying, I withdrew, and a lot of times because he wasn't good yet, and he was trying to. He said it isn't time yet. So he withdrew because now he has insights of his own emptiness and his own grief. He didn't understand how to fill, he didn't have enough light to fill his children up in a specific way. And so I don't know what way that is, but he's saying that it was insufficient. He's admitting now that he was delighted in the thought of them and having young, fresh, beautiful, manifesting young, fresh, beautiful children. And he had dreams that of creating conditions that could bring children in, but there's something that was disconnected or separated emotionally, where he realized that even though the physical conditions were fine, they had a roof over their head and they had abundance in that way, there was something that he lacked emotionally that he didn't know how to give them. And a lot of his behaviors reveal that it was a death, metaphorically. A lot of things were filled with the wrong energy that it wasn't nurturing. It wasn't nurturing. Okay. Death is a transformation. Death is a continuation. When we die, something else is born. Even if it takes time to reveal itself for us to be able to recognize it, there may be some pain at the moment of dying, just as there is pain at the moment of birth, or when the first bud bursts through the bark of a tree in spring. But once we know that death is not possible without the birth of something else, we are able to bear the pain. We need to look deeply to recognize the new that manifests when something else dies. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Mm. There's something
A
that
pack of cigarettes.
there's something that he wants to change with his passing. He wants the negative energy that he held within himself to be released. He does not want it to continue with his kids, with any of his children or his family. He wants it to be part of his death. So that's
Modern.
modern. That's part of what has kept him earthbound. He wants to make sure that his pain and his darkness and his the things that kept him separate are not passed over or do not continue with his fruit, he is saying. So that could be a reason why he feels like he can't cross over yet. Oh, okay. We'll reveal what needs to heal. We're happy to reveal what needs to heal, okay? I'm just curious because of the men wedding rings on your hand. Well, I guess I do have it on my wedding ring finger. Um, I am married, but my ring broke, so I haven't been wearing my wedding ring, but I have these copper rings because Spirit guided me to put them on. They help move electricity because copper is a conductive metal. So they just help, and it has a magnet in it, so it just helps to kind of move energy. Ramsey warning? What's that? Death is the dead end. If I was a girl, would you let me scissor you? Debauchery. Debauchery. Oh yeah, I also had a. Damn it. I wonder if I get out of there. Well, oh, you know what? I got.
Research.
Thank you. Yes, research. I asked Spirit to give me a random X-Men generator for Ozzy, and they gave me. Damn, I can't get it. Mmm. Mmm. I can't remember the
Debatable.
name. Lenore. I think it was Lenore? Leonora? Leonora Ang. Yes, I cannot believe I remembered that. So the random X-Men generator to represent Ozzy or to give us an additional message was Leonora Leo Ang, part of a group of teenage mutants on Krakoa who were punished by magic for bullying younger mutants. So that's what I was getting. There could have been something about him being envious of other rock stars of his time and perhaps projecting magic at them as a way to bully them or as a way to keep them from or prevent them from exceeding his capabilities. Okay, let's do an imagine if. We're gonna roll the dice. Let's do an imagine if. I got a 6. Imagine if Ozzy had to grant government approval for a major city project, which would he or she choose? A skyscraper. Yeah. He wanted to be the biggest. And it's like I said, he wanted to be the biggest. So there's something about him being envious of other, and that's where he said David. There are many Davids in other bands. Disturbed, David Bowie, David Lee Roth. They was all envious of them because they all had star power. So He wanted to be the skyscraper. Let me roll the dice again. Oh, I did a 1. Imagine if Ozzy could travel in a time machine, which event would he choose to witness? The Rumble in the Jungle. Ali versus Foreman, Zaire, 1974. Yeah, I told you,
Shadows.
some kind of competition. He may have projected magic at people because of competition. Because he's Luciferian. He's openly a Luciferian, using magic against people. 6. That could be one reason why he's earthbound. Another reason why he's earthbound. Hey, Jen Angel. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for liking the live. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you so much. I rolled a 6 again. Imagine if Ozzy were a stage act. Which would he be? Belly dancing. Belly dancing.
Call someone.
Interesting. Belly dancing. Can you clarify that? What do you mean by that? Let's do a vocabulary word. What do you mean by belly dancing? Crawling on your belly? I also have snake charmer, magician, one man band, this person in Ozzy's life, and maybe not so much towards the end, but in the prime, because it says 1974, he may have wanted to be the number one stunner, okay? He may have been a magician. He may have used magic to charm people, to be the one-man band, to be the one-man band stand-up comic. You know, he wanted to be the skyscraper. Can you tell me about this magic and this belly dancing? What does that mean? That's
And in the house.
Thank you. That's the thing that thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Ozzy. That's the thing that I was talking about. Someone who's openly making music, multiple songs. They're biting heads off of bats. They're in your face speaking about how they are openly Luciferian. Well, what does that mean exactly? Are they just singing about it, or are they actually living that lifestyle? What is that lifestyle? Let's find out. Let's ask Google. Let's ask Google. Because we're not experts about Luciferianism at all, but that energy requires you to be in a certain energy to honor it and to uphold its rituals and its whatever they do to stay in that energy to get the abundance they get through a specific way. And the specific way is often rooted in envy and revenge and all of these energies that are opposite of divinity. And that's what keeps people stuck once they cross over, because you may have gotten everything you want physically, monetarily, materially, but you can't take any of that with you. And so you still have all these things that you did in that energy openly, and we're over here listening to the songs and oogling or worshiping these celebrities like false idols that are doing these things openly, and we have to wonder, what are they actually doing behind the scenes to receive in this energy? And it's not good. It's never good. Okay? Being in those energies, hurting people, thinking it's okay to hurt people, to not, so you can be the best, it's not good. Okay? It's not good. It's not a good energy to be in. And so he's recognizing that now that he's crossed over and now that he's stuck. Okay? The fairy bee, my life is sweet. Yeah. His life may have looked sweet from the outside. Tell us what it was like on the inside. What was it like within yourself? Little Alan, wisdom as light as a feather. Yeah, owls represent occult knowledge. So definitely having wisdom of occult knowledge. Light as a feather, stiff as a
Ask me
board.
again later.
Spirit. Yeah. Your spirit is about to be sublimated. Sublimated? What's sublimated mean? Sublimated. Psychoanalytic theory, divert or modify an instinctual impulse into a culturally higher or socially more acceptable activity. I try to sublimate this energy into productivity at work. Undergo a change of state from solid to gas without passing through the liquid phase, also forming a solid deposit again on cooling. So something about his spirit changing through this 17 through this occult knowledge. I was looking at pictures of him from the past, from pictures of him when he's more into his career, and there's a difference in his face and his energy. And so as time goes on and and he's in the middle of debauchery for this energy that he's committed to, it's changing his spirit. It's changing his spirit. It's modifying his impulses. It's modifying his social if we knew what he was doing behind the scenes, it wouldn't have been socially acceptable. So it's a in our culture, in our society, it's a double-edged sword. It's a contradiction because we want to glorify and idolize these celebrities that are openly Luciferian, but then we don't want to think about what that actually means and what they're actually doing to be that, and it's not good. And so we're not going to socially accept any actions that are outward that would imply that energy, that they're part of that energy, but yet they talk about it all the time and they tell us that that's what they do. So it's okay to listen to their music and it's okay to go to their concerts and give them our energy, and they eat it up, eat it up, eat it up. But what are they doing? What else are they doing that's not socially acceptable that we would shun if we knew they were doing it? Even though they're saying that they're Luciferian. That's the question. And so he and 40 and he's just said 40, and 40 years ago the bass player for Foreigner said
I have a bad feeling about
that they
this.
that he was involved in debauchery. What kind of debauchery? You know what? Let me change my cards. What kind of debauchery were you involved in? What kind of debauchery were you involved in? That's how I used to be, totally changed. I have no hate in me anymore, Marty Young says. That's awesome. Yeah, you can absolutely choose at any point, right, to stop the tomfoolery. Ozzy Osbourne never claimed to be Lucifer. Actually, Kelly Higgins, the song right here says, "My name is Lucifer. Please take my hand. Now I have you with me under my thoughts. Our love grows stronger now with every hour. Look into my eyes. You'll see who I am. My name is Lucifer. Please take my hand." Okay? He may not have claimed to specifically be Luciferian, but he's just said deafeningly, because it was socially unacceptable to us if he had openly said that, but he said it in his songs. So Kelly, go back to the songs and go listen to what he was creating, and that is a blood oath. When you create something in that energy, you are automatically signing your name on it in blood. When you create in that energy and you walk in that energy and you do things in that energy and you hurt people in that energy, that's Luciferian. Whether you claim it outwardly, because obviously he's not going to claim something outwardly because that's socially unacceptable, because he wants to be the biggest skyscraper. So he may not have said it openly in an interview, but he said it openly many times in all of his songs. Okay? So what kinds of debauchery were you involved in that kept you in this energy? This is the very energy that he didn't realize would affect him after life. He thought that that whatever he believed in or whatever he was doing was okay because he was getting everything he wanted materially. And so he was equating material goods with love. And so he was thinking, well, I can give my kids food and shelter and material things. It's the same as love. But now he's seen that he's crossed over is that, yeah, sure, he may have been able to provide those things, but there's also a lot of things that he did in that energy that were dark, that were questionable, that were, not good. Who has the longest record for not showering? He may have been known for not showering, perhaps not having the best hygiene. Or maybe his soul, or maybe he's talking metaphorically, like his soul is dirty. He did a lot of things that dirtied his soul. They kept him from being in his divine energy. You will win the lottery tomorrow. Because he was chasing something. He was like, well, I'll be happy when I get this. The temptation for him was to be the biggest and the best rock star in the world. And so he may have been chasing that, and that may have been the temptation for him, because in the song it says, oh shoot, sorry, my necrometer closed. So in the song it says, follow me now and you'll not regret leaving the life you led before we met. Okay, so it's a choice, There's something that needs to be done for you to choose the shift in the energy that you live in. And the temptation is that I'll give you everything you want. You're going to feel so loved. Everyone's going to love you. I'm going to give you everything you need. All you need to do is this. So what is the thing that he thought would be okay? Is rushing home to take care of their sick baby. Something about his kids. What's your most embarrassing story about being sick? Has never voted, says they're too busy playing Fortnite. Yeah, the sacrifice he made was pouring into his kids in a nurturing way. He had kids. And I don't know if it's necessary to say the exact things he did or in front of the kids or what the kids witnessed or what he did to the kids, but it's embarrassing and it's sick and he's in regret about it. I have sick twice, and he did it to stay busy for a game that he was playing, okay? Went to trial for a 12-person serial killing spree, but was acquitted on a technicality. Yeah, he could have used magic against people that it may have actually, hurt people. Legitimately thinks pedestrians have the right of way on trolley tracks. He may have justified his actions because he wanted to be on a specific track, and any pedestrians that got in his way on his right of track, he may have viewed them as competition. Will one day invent the cure to cancer and only use it to cure rich people. Yeah. He wanted to stay rich. Is an organ donor. Something about organs. Is secretly a deadly serial killer. Wrote some really awful things online a few years ago. He may have exhibited a lot of negative behaviors that would have been socially unacceptable if all of us knew that he did it. Okay? Important for us all and the youngsters. Absolutely. So, it said he could have possibly even been responsible for projecting. I'm not saying that he actually, unalived anybody, but if he's in envy of other rock stars, and if he's projecting some type of low vibrational spiritual practice towards other rock stars that are in the same field as him, because he's jealous of them, or wants to be the number one skyscraper, he could have hurt people. Okay, and that was something that his kids may have witnessed. Point a finger. Who would get asked to leave a concert for singing too loud? Yeah, doing things at his concerts that are questionable, biting the heads off of animals is not. He said hidden. There's a lot more things he did that were hidden. That's just what he did openly. Imagine what he did behind closed doors. I read that's why the witches of Salem were murdered. Sad. This is interesting. I like it. Oh, thank you for being here. Committed unspeakable crimes against humanity during the Vietnam War. I cannot make it up. Sending spiritual warfare towards people, doing things that are socially unacceptable, that if we found out about them, we would not want to support him. Is immortal and can only be killed by a runaway trolley. Yeah, something about him feeling like he was on top of the world, like he could do whatever he wanted. You had a pleasant conversation with them an hour ago, but when you talk to them, you would never know that they're doing things like that behind the scenes. Okay? So he's recognizing now that if he's willing to show you a lot of things he did publicly, he had a show and you got to see a certain side of him that he really did have fun showing, but there's a whole other side to him, especially in the peak of his, rock starness, possibly 1974. You know what? I want to look that up. Let me see. Ozzy Osbourne, 1974. Just imagine what he was doing behind closed doors if we got to see some of the weird things he did out in the open. Okay? We have to really think about these things. Just because these are celebrities doesn't mean that they're perfect. It doesn't mean that they're doing things correctly. Just because they have access to fame and fortune, it doesn't make them godly. It doesn't mean that they're role models, the way that they got their riches, the way that they operate behind closed doors, the way that they raise their. It doesn't mean that they're good at those things, okay? Let's see, how old was Ozzy in 1974? 26 years old. Yeah, and he looks completely different. Like, he's gone through so many, his face like shifts all the time. In pictures, he looks different. And what year did Ozzy get sober? In 2013. That wasn't that long ago. So we know that, drugs and alcohol are definitely a gateway for spiritual, low vibrational spiritual entities to attach themselves to you. Blush. And we know by doing, you don't want me to do this? Okay. And we know by doing these reads that when you have energy attachments to you, they'll give you intrusive thoughts. And that's the way that kind of energy suggests things to you. And it goes the same for divine energy. When you're clear enough conduit in your field, your electromagnetic field is clear enough to receive divine messages from Yeshua, from angels, from all the ascended masters, all of that, then you'll receive those nudges and those those thoughts. And so it can go both ways, but you have to be a clear enough field for that frequency to give you messages. If you're doing things that muck up your field and you're in more of an energetic match to lower vibrations, then those are the messages that you're going to get, and you're not going to know that they're outside of you because they sound like your own thoughts. Okay, so there's something about him having energy attachments because of all his drug and alcohol consumption. Okay, what else? We'll look in the literature of the Western world. We'll see if there's a message in there. Ozzy, please tell us more. What do you want us to know? How can we help you go home? How can we help you go home? The Middle Ages. Wife of Bath's Tale. Is like a gold ring stuck in a sow's nose. Who could imagine, who would half suppose, the gall my heart drank, raging at each drop, and when I saw that he would never stop reading all night from his accursed book, suddenly in the midst of it I took 3 leaves and tore them out in a great peak, and with my fist I caught him on the cheek, so hard he tumbled backward in the fire, and up he jumped. He was as mad for ire, mad as a lion, and caught me on the head. With such a blow I fell down as if dead. And seeing me on the floor, how will I lay? He was aghast and would have fled away. Till I came to at length and gave a cry. Have you killed me for my lands before I die? False thief, I said, I'll give you a last kiss. He came to me and knelt down close at this and said, so help me God, dear Allison, I'll never strike you. For this thing I have done, you are to blame. Forgive me, I implore. Oh, oh my God. I implore you to forgive me. Oh, I have been a thief. I died with grief. I cannot speak now. For much I care and adieu, trying to reconcile our differences, us two. Please forgive me. Allow me one last kiss. Oh my God. I fell down dead before I could have fled away. At length you've cried, and it killed me inside. I am a false thief. Wow. I want to reconcile our differences. Let me have the bridle in my hand for management of both our house and land. You've curved my tongue and undertook the spot I made him when I burned my book. I thought I was secure in full degree. I thought I triumphed. I thought I had sovereignty. My dear my own true wife, do as you will as long as you have life. Preserve your honor. Keep my estate. From that day on, we had settled our debate. Oh my God. You were kind. You were God. You were day and I was dark. Wow. My wife was true. The majesty, the Lord I know is you. Oh my God. I'm gonna cry. Please bless my soul and have mercy on me, dear. Tell my tale. Let all hear. Ooh. I hope for you. My hope for you is bliss. I can't see because I have tears in my eyes. Oh. Wow. My hope for you is bliss. It was long and preamble to tell all this. I long to be in God's arms, but I summoned the sin. on good people. Now I'm burning within. I fell in every dish. With every question, I fulfilled every wish. What do you know? Talk about gambling. Now I am in sin, scrambling. You interpret our pleasure. You think it's so. I summoned a friar. Now I can't let go. Oh, my hope is to give people a chance or two to follow laughter instead of what I summoned can promise you. I cursed my face. I cursed me. If I don't tell my stories, 1, 2, or 3. I twisted my heart. I made it mourn. I lost my temper on my newborn. Be quiet, I cried, immediately cried. The order I sat, the woman, the I immediately ordered, I
Stomach
immediately,
slows to a crawl.
I immediately order the woman to tell her tale. You act like people who are drunk on ale. Oh, do madam tell us? That is the best measure. All ready, sir, she answered, at your pleasure. I am not worthy. Madam, tell on. You have my ear from this day on. Ooh, it's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of emotion. I'm sorry. It's a lot of emotion. Oh, he put his family through a lot of shit. And he's really sorry, especially to his wife. He was drunk and he was a thief of her tears. And he did a lot of things that were dark. And she stuck by his side and
Anomalies.
and went through a lot of shit with him and a lot of grief. And she avenged him and she made excuses for him and she stuck by his side. And he realizes that he should have never did that, and that even though he cursed himself and he summoned something that cursed him, telling his stories, he wants her to tell the stories because that's what helps him heal. That's what helps him be released from the bondage that he's put on himself in the afterlife. He's in bondage. Oh my god. That was so sad. Oh, I just need a minute. Oh, wow. Oh,
Magnetic.
magnetic. Ooh. So what I feel from that is his guilt and his shame of what he put his family through and how sorry he is. Because I'm crying because I'm feeling Ozzy's energy of remorse. He's not in a place right now where he can go home. He has a lot of stories, a lot of things that need to be healed before he's ready to release his guilt and his shame. And a lot of it is directed towards his family. He summoned something that he thought would bring him
Bailey.
joy, that bailed him out of a lot of sticky situations because he was always putting himself in debauchery, and he was always treating his family a certain way that nobody got to see. They got to see one side of him, but there was a big chunk of time where he was not treating his family that way. So, well, she said to do it. Yeah. Kelly said, ironically, Sharon's thinking of writing a book about Ozzy. He's saying to do it because people need to know the truth about what his lifestyle was about. The things that were socially unacceptable that we would not accept if he outwardly told us the things he was doing. People need to know because there's people who are blindly following him thinking that he's some kind of hero because outwardly he had everything, but emotionally he was inept. He was not something, he was not good at he was not good at nurturing or empowering his children or doing the things that a family man should have been doing. Okay? And so he has a lot of regret about that, and he crossed over not being able to reconcile those things. And so he's saying that if Sharon can write this book and be completely honest, it will allow a lot of things, it will reveal a lot of things that need to heal for him to go home. And so what he's telling me now is that it's not my job in this moment to release the things that, to release him from the things that have accumulated that keep him bound, earthbound. That's going to be something that his children and his wife need to do in order to release him. And if they can do it with the intention of doing that, to reveal, to heal, that'll really help to send him home, because he's in bondage now because of a lot of the things that he's done. Okay. Wow. Ooh. Wow. That was a big energy. Big energy. Oh, yes, amen. Absolutely. So how can we what can we do? What can we do to shift the energy? How can we shift? Breaking the mirage. Absolutely. Breaking the mirage. He wants to break the mirage. What he was showing you and what he was actually doing are two different things. And if you go listen to the music, be an observer. Use it as a way to understand what was actually happening behind the scenes, because what he was doing was not socially acceptable. And if he was willing to do what he did openly, imagine what he was doing behind the scenes. He wants to clear the fog and the mist of the illusions of grandeur that we see with these celebrities. We worship these celebrities as false idols when really behind the scenes they're doing things that are socially unacceptable, that we would never accept in a million years, because they're dark, misleading, mask, bogus, shading true self. Absolutely. There's a reason why he was an addict for so long. There's a reason for that, because you would have to be an addict in order to deal with all of the sins and all of the, he was a cursed man. He cursed himself. And so now he's bound himself to earth. He's an earthbound spirit because of the things he did. And when you cross over, if you have guilt and shame and you have not processed your emotions of those things, then it binds you to earth and you don't go home. You run a loop over and over again. Anger and attempt to mask insecurity because he had to be the best. He sent out low vibrational spiritual practices to people in envy, in trying to be the biggest dick, in the rock game. And he could have hurt people. He could have actually hurt people. Is a deadly serial killer. He could have actually hurt people with spiritual warfare, because he's a fallen, follow moon, balanced mind. He was not he was not a role model of a balanced mind. And here we are idolizing him and worshiping him and giving him our money and pouring into him. And yet he's an adulterer and he's a sinner. Not a sinner, but he's doing things to hurt people. And he's insecure and he has to be the biggest and he has anger. Okay? There's a lot of things that have him in purgatory, that have him earthbound. He was not a balanced mind. So he wants that to come to light. He wants that to be revealed. That he wasn't who he said he was. He was, he was exactly who he was showing us, but at the same time saying that he was a family man. It was a contradiction for money because he wanted to wear a mask. He wants to break that illusion. He was not a balanced person. And now he wants all of the things he did to come to light. He wants his wife to write that book, maybe even possibly his first wife. Spiritual rooting. Yeah. He wants everyone to know that what he was doing wasn't rooted in spirituality. It was rooted in ego. It was rooted in to get what he wanted materially. And so because of that wound that he had, what was this wound you had? He was actually insecure. He was actually very insecure. And he attempted to mask that. And it was very misleading. And it could have drawn a lot of people into his lifestyle that are going through the same things that he went through, but he didn't tell anybody because he had to put on a certain type of mask that it was okay to do these things, because he tried to quit it. He tried to leave his job at one point and he realized that he could never leave. So he just dove right in and he cursed himself. Healing sonar, hold your frequency, creative positive emotions, evolve internally. Yeah, that's the one thing that he didn't do, is he couldn't hold a positive frequency for his emotions. He never looked at his emotions, his anger. He was always projecting onto other people, and those are the things that you didn't see about him. He was charming. Yeah, he was charming. All you saw was the charm. I'm indifferent, no compassion, disinterested, neutral, emotional distance. He couldn't pour into or nurture his children or his relationships in the way that he wished he could have because he was indifferent. He had no vital force to give. He had nothing to pour, none of his own vital force to pour into others in the way that he wishes he could have. Okay? 2. He said 2. Multiple masks. He wore multiple masks. Yeah. Chaos, agony, struggle, madness. You know, what we were viewing as just, a personality, just a funky personality, which he may have been, but also beneath that, deeper, was agony, sorrow, madness, not being able to be balanced, always needing to supplement or to mask his emotions through substances, because all the things that he was doing to obtain all of his riches and his fame was an illusion. It was a mirage. And he wants everyone to know that. Okay? Oh, thank you so much, Ozzy. Thank you so much for being here with us. We truly appreciate the message. I'm sorry it took so long for me to connect with you. I'm very grateful for your honesty and for your honesty, honestly, just your honesty, honestly. It's true. Someone who's listen to what they're saying in their songs. They're telling you exactly what they're doing. And if we choose, it's not that you can't listen to those songs. You can absolutely listen to them, but do not think that the person who's making these creations is not doing something else that is part of what they're revealing to you. And you can't live in both worlds. You can't be a good person and also do low vibrational things. they're two different energies. You can't be both. And so if someone is showing you who they are, but if someone is revealing who they are through their creations or through their emotions, through their behavior patterns, but they're saying with their mouth that they're a family man and they're this and that, then you need to be able to recognize the difference, because you can't be both. You can't be this good, upstanding family man and also be doing all these low vibrational spiritual things. You can't be both. And so we need to really take it, understand on a deeper level what we're looking at. If you're making multiple songs that reveal that you believe in Lucifer and you do all these things, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? Because you have to be performing certain actions. Machiavellian, spirits and Machiavellian. You have to be performing certain actions that equate to that energy, that match that energy. And that energy is going to be in envy and revenge and all of the lower emotional hang-ups that cause us to be in agony, in chaos, that don't match divine energy. You can absolutely choose that experience and have that experience, but just know that whatever you receive monetarily in that energy, you can't take with you. And once you cross over, you're still going to have to deal with all of the emotions that you repressed, with all of the guilt, and with all of the shame that you acquired by being in that energy. You're still going to have to deal with that when you cross over. That's the one thing you do take with you. And so we need to start understanding that you could have all the money in the world, but if you are empty, if you are empty inside because you've done all these horrible things and you refuse to take responsibility and you've justified it your whole life up until death, yeah, you're gonna be earthbound. You're not going to go home. You're going to have to stay on this realm. They call it purgatory, but whatever you want to call it, you're gonna have to stay. And you're gonna have to eventually come to some way of letting that go. And sometimes, there's no time on to that. It's infinite. You could be there forever, but it's ultimately your choice, even in the afterlife, to be able to forgive yourself for what you've done. Okay? I love you so much. Thank you for being with us. We're going to see you tomorrow. I have a couple options. I don't like to reveal them before I do them because the energy gets weird when I do that. But I do have a true crime, or I have something related to the Epstein files. Which would you guys like to see? I don't know. If you have a opinion, please put it down in the comments. I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.